What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm really excited to bring you my full review of the damn Design Invictus. The Invictus has a 3.6-inch 154 cm blade steel, 4.9-inch G10 handles. Overall length on the Invictus is 8 inches and claimed weight is 5 ounces. So let's go ahead and grab the scale and bring that on out here to see if we can verify that weight. Let's see here, get that in there where the lighting is. And while that's ringing up, I'll bring the box over here. So 5.2, they claim 5 ounces. That could be a difference in the steel, could be slightly different in the grinds. The G10 is the lighter variant. Oh, it didn't cut off, sorry. There we go. The nice thing about this knife is that it does come in a couple of options. The very base model version is 14C 28N and G10, and I think you can have that for around 60 bucks. This one here is slightly more by $20, but you're getting 154 cm, which I like a little bit better than 14C 28N. But 14C28N is a fantastic steel. And if you want, they even now offer premium versions of this knife where you can get the inset liner lock with titanium scales. And I think instead of 14C28N or 154 cm, it replaces one of them. I think instead of 154 cm, you can get it in S35VN, but I think they still have a very cheap version for around $100 to $110 with the titanium and the 14C28N, which I think is a fantastic price point, and I really like the way that they have that option, the ranging starting at 60 going all the way up to like 140. So as you can see here, this is the Invictus 154 cm jade. Stone wash is what the SW stands for. Comes in a package. It does have the foam padding at the bottom to protect the knife, moisture wicking pack, and it has the damn designed microfiber cloth. So that's everything that comes with the box. What I'll be doing next is I am actually going to be doing some size comparison knives just to help you with the size of this knife. And then I'll do the thickness profile, and then I'll finally get into my thoughts and impressions to tell you what I think about this knife. As you already heard, I think it's a really good deal because of the price points being pretty much budget even with the titanium variants. So first up is going to be the Spyderco Yojimbo 2, which is going to be a little bit smaller than this knife. So hopefully this reference is really going to help you. Now, the next knife that I normally use in here is my Spyderco Shaman, and the reason that I'm pausing for that is because it really does kind of remind me somewhat of the Shaman as far as the styling. So it has that contouring going on in the handles. It has nice thick handles. The factory handles from Spyderco on here, the G10 handles are thicker. These are the skinny scales, but they do kind of remind me of the scales that come on from the factory. And you have a very similar type of drop point. It does drop lower on the Shaman, but you do have a nice drop down. It is angled down as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit more with the ergonomics. But as you can see, this is very much closer in size to a Shaman, so this is definitely a bigger knife. I definitely think it's really nice, and I like that a lot. Next, we'll bring the crossbar locks out really quickly to give you a size reference. Here it is against the bug out, and then the full-sized SIG K320 made by Hogue. You can see these two are very, very close in size, presence, so you're getting a really good idea of what type of knife this is and the size that it is. So let me get these crossbar locks out of here as well, and then we'll bring in the budget knives. This is my only sub 3-inch reference here. It's going to be the Kubi KU321. As you can see, it dwarfs the Kubi, and then the budget Buck 110 Plus USA made knife for under $30. I love that price point on that. If you need a work knife or something to throw in your toolbox, I think I say it every video, it's a fantastic option for a user that you don't have to worry about. Surprisingly, the Buck is still longer, but as you can see, this definitely has more presence than either one of these knives. Now let me go ahead and get the Buck out of here, and what I'll do is a thickness profile comparison for you so that you can see just how thin or thick this knife is. As you can see, it's actually thinner than the smaller Kubi KU321 with the contoured scales. And this does have a little bit of chamfering on the edges. It is flat on the top, but that chamfering does help with the ergos, and I'll get a little into that a little bit more here shortly. Here it is against the Benchmade Bug Out. As you can see, the Bug Out is a thin knife, and it is just barely thinner. I know the jade makes it hard to see, but it is just barely thinner than the Invictus. Last but not least, I'll bring out the Yojimbo 2, which has the same thickness as the the Para 3. As you can see, they are about the same thickness when you get past the chamfering. So when you look out to this point here, you can see they're about the same thickness, which is really impressive considering how much girth this has. Now let's talk about the knife. Again, the handles do have chamfering around the edges. They do have a brown or a JG10. G10 has a little bit of texturing here, which is really, really nice because that does help with the grip, and it does really lend to confidence with the grip there because you have that texturing there that, oh, I might need to bring it to the mic. Hopefully you heard that. If not, take my word for it, the texturing is there. The chamfering is nice as well, and they did some milling in the lines here, which is nice because when you're actually holding it in hand, you can feel it in the palm, giving you a little bit of traction, and then you can feel it with your fingers when they wrap around to grab the other side. I do like the captive pivot here because it adds a little bit of styling. It's not just a plain standoff pivot, doesn't have any branding on it, which I think is really cool. And then when you're not using this for the pocket clip, they give you a little titanium kick plate with a screw to put in there, which I think is a really nice touch. I think it looks really, really nice. Now, they do have the black G10 in the back spacer here, and I think it's the same way with the brown handles. And when I say it's brown, it's like that canvas micarta brown, so like this dark brown, which I think looks really, really good. My only comment is I wish they would have blacked that one out with the hardware. I think that would have looked dope. Would have looked really good. All right, let me flip this thing open and finish talking about the handles a little bit. So you do have some milling in here to help with the weight reduction. Big old milling into the steel liners. As you can see there, small milling on the liner lock side. I forgot to mention the G10 backspacer has a little spot for a lanyard as well, which is really nice if you're into the lanyard. Knife this big, I don't think you really need it for grip. It would probably be more for aesthetics. Pocket clip is really nice. It is flexible. It does come up just enough to catch the pocket. It is a little low, so sometimes I miss going in the pocket, but it's not really requiring two hands. I just got to pull it back out and get it against the hem of the pants, push out, and then it'll catch and come up. So the nice thing about it being low though is when you have it in hand, you really don't feel the pocket clip poking anywhere. It's very subdued. It just has a different type of textured feel to it, so it feels nice in hand. The flipper tab adds to the finger guard here, gives you a nice spot to put your hand. Really nice jimping back here on the spine. It lands right on the back half of my thumb. My thumb is a little bit longer, my hand's a little bit bigger, so I do come out kind of far. I wish they could have carried the jimping down just a little bit more. I don't think it would have made a difference either way, but it feels really nice. Now, the only branding on the blade is actually the damn Design logo. There is no blade steel. Oh, there it is. I couldn't find it earlier. Oh, that's because the lighting was there. So you can see the 154 cm is there. I couldn't see it because of the way that it was shadowed earlier. I think the acid wash stone wash looks really good on here. You can see where I've been using the knife a little bit. The 154 cm seems like it's done really well, and it should be, because I think the OE on this is QSP. You can correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. It is a thicker stock, but because it is so tall, it comes down to a really fine edge, really fine behind the edge. The sharpening choil just gives you a little bit of sharpening choil, and then you're going to probably run right into the plunge grind after 2 or 3 sharpenings. So keep that in mind. You might have to put your own sharpening choil in there. The edge from the factory came really, really nice. This has a fantastic edge. It is a slicer for sure. It goes straight through the cardboard without any issues whatsoever. So really good edge from the factory, and that's pretty much what I expect from QSP. And then again, the acid etch stone wash does a good job masking up for the most part where you go through the cardboard. You can see I've been using this a little bit. It's got some wear marks on it, but I think it kind of blends in really nicely with the stone wash. Flipper action and flipper tab are really nice. They have this jimped both for the light switch and the push button, but I think the push button is a little bit of a weirder angle, and it actually kind of hurts my joints a little bit to do it that way, so I actually prefer the light switch. Has a very heavy detent, but still has shake shut action considering how heavy that detent is. You have phosphor bronze washers down in the pivot. Let me grab my flashlight again So you can see the reflection there. There you go. So you can see the Foster Braun washers down in the pivot. A little bit of shouldering for that big old stop pin. That is a nice thick stop pin there as well. And you can see it shoulders and it pinches here between the dentent ball and the blade. And then same thing, liner lock in the blade. That shouldering rest right on that. Lockup is about 30% of the blade spine. That will wear in more over time. Access to the lock bar is really nice. It does have a really nice knockdown in case you like to come in from the side to try to get it to fall shut at first. And then if not, if you like to rest your hand on top, they have nice jimping there as well, so your finger can hit that. Even if you like to come in from the side, it's got really nice access to be able to do that as well. So it covers all the disengagement options that I'm aware of. There might be one out there that I don't know of, but that's more than I care to know of. Overall, this is a really nice knife. For $80, 154cm and G10 is a really nice option. Some alternative recommendations are going to be the Conspirator, which is going to be roughly about the same size. Conspirator is a little shorter on the handle, but it gives you about the same blade size, and you're going to be getting that for a little less than $80, and it is a button lock. You can get it with micarta or G10 or wood. Another recommendation I'm going to make, a little bit more expensive than this one, is going to be the Case Kenzua. If you want a USA made knife, you're going to get into this hard use territory that this roughly covers. Now this is a thicker geometry and it has a more immediate ramp on the flat grind here, so this is definitely more of a hard use, less of a slicer, but you get ceramic balls in the pivot for really nice action. So that's a really good recommendation. And then if you want another alternative recommendation from a G10's perspective, what I would start to steer you towards is probably something like the Andela. You can get the Andela, the DLT trading exclusive variant with 20 CV instead of 154 cm, and you can get the FRN handles, and this is going to be from Seki City, Japan. Really nice option, $100, not too bad considering you're spending $80 on this QSP variant with 154 cm, depending on what you want. So I just wanted to at least give a couple of alternate recommendations. However, I like this knife. I like the size of it. I like the thinness of it. Makes it nice to carry, but it's so tall and girthy that it feels nice in hand. Really good access to the lock bar. 154 cm and even the 14C 28N for $60. Both are fantastic options. Reversible deep carry pocket clip. I mean, this checks all the marks. Not too many options, but they do have the Jade G10, so if you want to dye the scales to make it a different color and you don't like the brown, I did pick up the Jade because I like the Jade, but maybe down the road I might decide I want to mix it up and change the color, throw it into a red or a blue, and I can do that with the Jade, which is really nice. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. If you are subscribed, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. You rock and are awesome. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Don't forget to give me a follow over on Instagram. And until next time, peace.